Can the word if be used without it being a conditional? Let's consider. Hello, I'm Chico. Welcome to the Philosopher Channel Introduction to Propositional Logic course. In J.L. Austin's paper, Ifs and Cans, he points out a use of the word if, he says, is not a conditional. So consider the sentence, there are some biscuits on the sideboard if you want some. There's that word if in there. By the way, I don't know what a sideboard is, and I assume biscuits means cookies. I don't really know. In any case, that word if in there sounds like this is going to be a conditional. Sounds like you can rewrite this. If you want some, then there are some biscuits on the sideboard. The trouble is, there are biscuits on the sideboard whether you want them or not, right? So this doesn't really sound like it should be a conditional, and he gives a test as to whether or not it should be a conditional. If it's a conditional, then if P then Q entails if not Q, then not P. They actually both have the same truth tables. So if P then Q is only false when the antecedent is true, the consequent is false, that only happens on line 2. And if not Q, then not P. Also the case that it's only false when the antecedent is true and the consequent is false. And that also happens in row 2. So if P then Q is true if and only if not Q, then not P is also true. However, it wouldn't make sense to change this if P then Q into a if not Q, then not P. If you want some, then there are biscuits on the sideboard. You can't change that to if there are not biscuits on the sideboard, then you do not want some. That sounds like it's not going to be true. So these kinds of conditionals are sometimes called Biscuit conditionals or relevance conditionals. I've also heard them called Austinian ifs. And in our textbook, Smith accepts that these are not conditionals. There is a counter view. Robert Fogelin wrote a paper called Austinian ifs that says maybe what we should do, maybe the way that we should be looking at this is not that there are biscuits on the sideboard is the consequent. Instead, maybe we should say that there are biscuits on the sideboard is just pointing it out that there are biscuits on the sideboard, and there is an implied consequent. So if you want some, maybe our implied consequent could be, then you may have some. Something like that. And this would pass the test that J.L. Austin gave, if P then Q entails, if not Q, then not P. If it's not the case that you should have some, then it must not be the case that you wanted some. Personally, I think that's a pretty plausible understanding of it, but not a huge deal. There are also a couple more uses of if that Fogelin points out that are not conditionals. So the sentence, he's a brave, if headstrong leader. That if headstrong, he points out, the word if is really just synonymous with although. He is a brave, although headstrong leader. So that's not a conditional. Also, I don't know if he's at home. The if there is synonymous with the word whether. I don't know whether he's at home. So there are ifs that are not conditionals. As far as the Austinian ifs, I don't know. Up to you. This was a pretty short one today. The next section should be a little bit longer. So check out 6.4 disjunctions, and I'll see you in the next video. Adios.